One.
Another all-time high yesterday, another all-time closing high. But one caveat, folks, it was Columbus Day, but we've had a little bit lower volume if you want to try and find anything negative about this market. Are we banking on a rally today? I mean, Goldman Sachs up 15 bucks, BAC up over a buck. Why aren't we higher? We'll figure that. We'll cover many more earnings reports. China still on the retreat. Sami Abussad at 8:35. It's a Tuesday. It's pre-market prep, and it's a Friday for somebody. Let's get started.
Welcome to Benzinga's pre-market prep.
This is a volatile puppy here.
It's all about execution styles and strategies.
All right, let's call it like it is, folks. Unchanged after making that new all-time high yesterday, 59.08 1/4. Not many numbers out there because we are on uncharted territory. The buck pulling back a little bit. A possible double top here, just above 103, down 13 cents, 102.95. TLT, new low for the move yesterday. Little bounce up 28 cents, 94.04. Crude getting pounded. Holy macro. 78 to 70 in 5 sessions, down 321, 70.82. Gold flat, 26.65. Silver flat, 31.31. Bitcoin futures, big day yesterday, finding resistance in the same area as it did in September. The futures are down $430 at 65,715. Well, Triple D, JP Morgan set the bar right here. And you had Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, do the old Fosbury flop right over that bar. We got some good earnings out there, but why aren't the SPOOs solidly green?
Lots of reasons why the SPOOs aren't green, but the banks, there are certain sectors that are ripping, and it is the banks and it is the airlines. And the two reasons, bank earnings, and then this headline that Israel isn't going to hit Iranian oil targets is crushing oil, and that's making the airlines pop. So if I'm looking at my screen, there's two sectors that stand out. Airlines, very strong. Banks, very strong. Tech, not very strong. And there's a headline there too, so multiple headlines. And then we're giving you all the news here in like 2 seconds here. AB, we're going to jump into the details, bring AB in here. But it's also a headline that the Biden administration is going to maybe curtail some of the AI chips from going into the Middle East. And that is why you are seeing Nvidia and AMD trading down here this morning. AB, how are you?
I'm good. Wait, before we get going, I got a question. Why, for Joel, why is it today a Friday for some people?
Because Triple D.
Not taking a couple days off.
He's taking a couple days off. So I talked to the exchanges, and they are still going to be open.
They're panicking a little bit because they're going to lose my liquidity for a couple of days. So I'm not going to be out there to provide liquidity. So you're going to have to get some other market makers there.
You got a big anniversary coming up, right?
Yeah, 20th anniversary. So we're going to take off for a couple of days. Yeah. So kids are staying though. Kids are staying. Grandparents are staying over. So anyways, but I'm just getting away for a couple of days.
All right. Well, that'll be fun. Going back to Nvidia and the chip news. So yeah, this is on Biden administration considers restrictions on Middle East countries. So Nvidia, AMD could face chip export curbs. And when this news was announced, you can see like right on the pre-market chart at 4 a.m., the Nvidia got crushed. I mean, lost like $3 or no, sorry, not that much, like $2 down to around 135 or 136. What was the low, Joel? 136?
135.60.
135.60, and then people came back and bought it right back up though. So we're trading down on Nvidia, but not that much. I mean, less than 1% as we head into the open here in a little bit. AMD also got hit on this, but then started getting bought back up a little bit more as well. So AMD is getting hit a little bit more than Nvidia here. I mean, I think it's really showing you just the strength in these stocks that you get this negative headline from the Biden or that the administration may start curbing some of these exports, and yet the stocks aren't down that much. I mean, about 1% on both AMD and Nvidia.
Yeah, I mean, this is the market that we're in. Nvidia relentless dip buying here. The headline not great at all. I would think it'd be down $3 or $4 on that headline. It's not. I actually went short on the headline and was disappointed not to make very much. I've covered my short already because you know what? If they're already coming in buying the dip, I think they're buying the dip. They just can't stop themselves. So they're like, who cares? They're not going to block them too much. Let's buy it anyways. It's funny that AMD is actually down more than Nvidia, considering how many more AI chips Nvidia sells than AMD. But the two stocks are getting hit. It's putting a little bit of damper on the rally here. But overall, I mean, this incredible move in Nvidia, right near all-time highs here. I said the all-time high was going to be in at 140.76. It has not breached that yet, but it's still dang close. So 3 months later, it looks like I may be proven wrong. I don't mind being proven wrong, though, because I'm still long in the stock in my lunch.
So this is chip restriction to the Middle East, because Ricky Bobby's making a good point that we've heard this headline before, but I think that was more related to China. Right now, this is talking about restricting. You said the Middle East, right?
Yeah, correct.
I think it's the Middle East. It wasn't the headline from the Middle East. Am I
No,
correct with that?
it was the Middle East. It was
That's a little bit different, but once
yeah.
again, it's like, SMCI going down again on, accounting issues. I mean, you keep hearing the same thing. The dip was bought. And I was looking at this in Nvidia, and I don't think I've seen a stock make a new all-time closing high so many times without making a new all-time high. Right? Because you had the big day where you got to 140 and change, and then you really never settled up in that area. Back here was probably the previous all-time high settlements. You've had 3-4 days in a row with the negative news, which, they did buy the dip. I'd say, you do have a good number at the close yesterday, because that's your highest closing mark, 138.07. And while the volume has been a little bit lower in the overall market, partially that because of Columbus Day, not so in Nvidia. So keep an eye. I like that number. AMD just looks kind of in the middle of no man's land. You topped out last week and got a double top and top of a double top. So we're a ways from the close. Keeping an eye on the closing price in both Nvidia and AMD.
The story of the day is not Nvidia and AMD, believe it or not, though. It is oil again. So just give us that headline here specifically. I don't know if I butchered it up, AB, so give us a specific headline, because this has ramifications, obviously, for oil stocks, but also for other stocks as well.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of speculation over the past week or so that Israel's response to Iran may be attacking some of their oil refineries, some of their, energy infrastructure, maybe even nuclear. But Benjamin Netanyahu, the president of Israel, came out and said that they will not attack one of Iran's oil targets. So, of course, if one of Iran's oil targets got attacked, and that would hurt supply, that would lead to an increase in the price of oil. And now, if they're saying we're not going to attack one of these oil refineries, one of these energy infrastructure spots of Iran, then the price responded by going down in oil. So Israel coming out saying we're not going to respond by attacking one of Iran's energy, hubs here, and oil is getting crushed on this news.
That was one of the worst sell-offs that I've seen in oil in a very long time. It was so fast. Like, I'm trading after hours. I'm like, what's going on with oil? I'm like, holy cow. And then you see the headline. It just, they bring up they just started hammering it and hammering it and hammering it. And they really never stopped hammering it. And obviously now you're looking at the USO. Huge headline, down $3.22. I mean, basically giving back the entire month of October just on one headline here. So, oil stocks getting crushed. And then what's that naturally good for is the airlines. And I'm having a really good day, because when I saw this headline, I was trying to short oil stocks. I did get short a bit, but that went fast. The algos are all over this. I'm like, well, why? If it's oil's going to get crushed like this, the airlines are probably going to go up. So I bought a bunch of Delta. I bought a bunch of jets. I bought a bunch of UAL. I bought a bunch of AAL. I bought a bunch of airlines yesterday. I'm out of most of those trades. Still have a little bit of Delta, still some Jets left. Jets is thinner, so it's harder to get out of in the pre-market. But I'm out of most of it now, but it was really good. I mean, Delta, I think I bought 53.08. and I was flipping out this morning in 54.20, 54.28, 54 multiple sells, but in the 54 handle. AAL, again, same story, just, and UAL, same story as well. I think I was paying 63.60, and they sat down there pretty much all night, Joel. I'm like, I don't get it. I'm like, why are the traders not buying the airlines? Like, you didn't have to be on this trade in 10 seconds. The DAL and UAL sat down there the majority of the night. I'm like, if oil's going to open down $3 or $4, the airlines are probably going to open higher. That's just that's your most basic relationship out there.
You know what? I think it's just because with what's been going on, they're like, okay, does that really mean that they're not going to do that? I mean, yeah, the U.S. is pressuring them. So I think it's just a little bit of hesitation. And also earnings coming up for UAL. I was going looking at the DAL, and that got hit off its earnings report. Now it's back making a new high for the move. So I think it was just a little bit like, oh, yeah, well, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. 53.86, that was your May high. That's the highest that you've been in Delta in a long time. As I said, you hit that in May. Then you haven't been up in this area since the COVID days when you had, traded back at the $60 area. So big opening up into an area, at least for Delta, multiple highs. And for UAL, I mean, if you were riding this into its earnings report, you're getting a little bit more juice here. It's up $1.07. This probably love. I know they got a big meeting coming up. Ooh, big boys stepping in at 30. Maybe not for as much as domestic. AAL, man, this thing is just always at $12. That's up 28.
Well, or lower. It's slowly been making a comeback here. I have AAL a little bit in the long-term portfolio, which has been a disaster. Somebody asking in the chat, would you come in here and buy airlines now? I don't think so. I like maybe if you're analyzing it, but I wasn't in it coming in this trade, saying, yeah, I'm going to buy these things up 2.5%. I was buying these stocks up nothing last night when oil was trading down $3. And now obviously the price is corrected to probably where it should be. I mean, last night AAL was trading at 11.88, 11.90. Now it's 12.15. So do you come and chase them now saying this continues? I'm not so sure about that. I mean, oil could spike right back. This headline, Joel, could prove to be even false. You don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's probably, that's what I'm saying. Maybe you had that, you see so much news. I mean, maybe they were deterred by, North Korea blowing up roads going to South Korea, there's always a mix in trading. But I just think it's people were just a non-believer in the headline, but way to sit through it on it. You're getting rewarded here. For this, I
didn't have to sit that long. I just had to go to bed. If you bought out airlines last night and you went to sleep, you woke up, you made money. That's pretty much what it was. So, I mean, and people ask, why do you trade like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock and stuff? Because there's little inefficiencies like this. I mean, if that happens during the day, I think the HFTs are on it a little bit.
They get you. Yep.
I think that they're buying airlines faster than that. But that was the slowest airline rally I've ever seen. Like, it was all night. Like, I'm like challenging, am I wrong? I was even asking another break trader. I'm like, I'm buying airlines on this oil headline. And I'm like, and then they weren't rallying all night. I bought them at 4:30, 5 o'clock, 5:30, just sitting on them. And then, it closes. And they really never rallied much last night. They were up a little bit. Delta was up like 20 cents. AL was like a few cents, but not much. So, it was surprising to me that, that obviously that they just didn't rally a little faster than they did, but obviously rewarded, for holding overnight.
All right, let's go with some. All right, before we get to some earnings, let's talk some news in Boeing. And Boeing actually in the green this morning, surprisingly. So we usually don't talk about some positive headlines for Boeing, and I'm not sure this is really a positive headline. I'm not sure this is really a positive headline, but at least the market is reacting as if it is. So Boeing filed for a mixed shelf registration of securities up to $25 billion. So basically agreeing for an offering here at 20 so what exactly does the mixed shelf mean for at
so
25
mixed shelf? It's a fantastic question, AB. So when you see an actual offering, like we're coming in, a mixed shelf allows them to do an offering. So it's the first step. So when you do a mixed shelf, and I don't have the details on the mixed shelf, maybe you do. Sometimes it's mixed with potential with debt, with equity convertible. It could be different stuff. But a mixed shelf is just allowing them to raise some capital. So 25 billion. The rumor was 10 billion. Now they're doing a mixed shelf for 25 billion. So we don't know if it's going to turn into an equity raise. It could end up being a debt raise. I don't know if they have those details yet. If they do, I missed it. But right now I just see a mixed shelf. So basically mixed shelf first step. And you see companies do mixed shelves all the time. Like you'll see like Bank does a mixed shelf. It's usually like some preferred stock they're going to offer or something like that. They're usually not Goldman Sachs doing an equity raise. But in this case with Boeing, it's probably going to be an equity raise. In this case with Boeing, they're probably going to do it sooner than later. So, I mean, it's incredible. You're going to dilute the shareholders probably significantly here because they're raising capital out of necessity. Yet the stock is so oversold. They cut guidance. Now it's a huge loss. They got the strike going on. They're raising, money out of necessity here, and yet the stock is not going down. This is what you call seller exhaustion. I can't bring myself to come in here and buy it because this is not a good headline, but I'll tell you, I would not short it either because the stock is not going down on it.
You did get some good price action off that, but we did talk about this yesterday. The only thing I gave you fundamentally was the pair of lows at the 146.30 area. Now you undercut it yesterday, but if you took it out, man, and you didn't even have to give it 30 cents. You went to 146.02. You got a nice bounce. So once again, you have a level to lean on here. In Boeing on the upside. I know you traded up over 153 in the pre-market, but I think it would be important to take out that high from Friday at 151.12, and then you got a little bit more. You got a little bit more room to 152.19, but make sure it holds the bid off the open. A mixed shelf, you nailed it pretty well, Dennis. Multiple types of securities in a single offering. Flexibility to sell them over time. It could be debt. It could be options. It could be a lot of different things. But what's important, I think, here is that they are doing it. The stock is in the gutter. Some people are like, like it's a little more palpable than if you tried to do it when the stock was at 195. That's the only thing I can see for the positive reaction.
And again, when I see a mixed shelf on like Bank of America, I don't think anything about it. I don't think they're coming out and doing an equity raise because Bank of America is not in financial distress. They're probably going to maybe do some preferred stock, and they might not do anything, to your point, over time. Boeing is in some financial crunch right now. Over time for Boeing is probably a couple of days they're going to do this. So I would expect that this turns into a full equity raise very quickly. I would also expect, like they were talking, the rumor is 10 billion. They just did a mixed shelf for 25 billion. So I mean, it's 2.5. It's way bigger. 25 billion. It's way bigger than what it was supposed to be. I mean, how many shares are outstanding here too? Something to look at. The Boeing market cap currently, and maybe there people are looking at if they ever turn this thing around. The Boeing market cap is only $91 billion.
And they're doing
a $25 billion. If they did it all as an equity raise, it's massive dilution. Massive dilution. Now, again, maybe they're going to be able to do most of it as debt or convertible or something like that. And then it's not as dilutive. But holy cow, this company's got a lot of problems right now. Not a $10 billion mixed shelf, $25 billion. I bet you they use the whole damn thing.
Yeah, so my pro, someone in the chat pointed out, my pro is showing another headline that says Boeing entered into a $10 billion supplemental credit agreement with Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan. I thought that was part of the same thing with the mixed shelf. Maybe it's not.
It might not be.
So either way, so that $10 billion supplemental credit agreement could explain why Boeing is trading higher despite this mixed shelf offering news. But let's move on from Boeing. Let's get to some earnings. We do have big banks continuing to report this morning. Let's start with Goldman Sachs. We'll just go in order of let's go. We'll go start with Goldman Sachs and we'll go to Bank of America.
Sure.
So Goldman Sachs reported this morning EPS of $8.40. The estimate was $7.03. Sales came in at $12.7 billion. That beat the $11.87 billion estimate. So The CEO says we continue to lean into our strengths, execution capabilities, and risk management expertise, yada, yada. So either way, the numbers were very strong for Goldman Sachs. They declared a $3 dividend. Stock is trading up about 3% on this news.
Goldman Sachs always kills it. It's a matter of like the response to it. The typical response has always been rip them and dip them, but this is not happening this earnings season with the banks. We talked about this a couple days ago. JP Morgan ripped, dipped, and then it ripped again. So maybe this is different. Maybe it's different this time. Bank of America going up 42.73. I didn't notice any warrant sells. Maybe it wasn't hit the filing because Columbus Day, but didn't notice any selling up here because I'm thinking that he's still selling some stock. Incredible moves here for the banks. Incredible move here for Goldman. I'm just looking at all of them. I mean, Citigroup's up on, PNC's up on theirs. I mean, every single bank they report. Schwab is ripping on it. Schwab's up $7. We're going to get to that one in a second, but all these banks, every single one, Bank of America too, every single one is up. You rarely see that, like 6 for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4 of the big ones that we're reporting. It's 6 for 6 this morning. They're all trading higher.
Yeah, S&P's kind of catching wind of those earnings now, moving to the green, up 2.5 handles. Goldman Sachs, 542. That's my number. That's the only number there is. That's the pre-market. Actually, the pre-market high, 42.02. You hit that on 3 different 15-minute brackets. I don't want to say the high of the day's in, but keep an eye on that 342, especially if you get a chance to take it out and then come back down through it. So no idea where to tell you where to buy this thing, but I can't give you potential resistance at 542.
Oh, good call. Le Capitaine, Yog with the call. Warren fell under 10% Bank America. Warren fell under 10%. So now he doesn't have to report till the 13F, the actual filing day. So he doesn't have to report every 2 days right now. Good call. So even if Warren is selling Bank America, we won't see the sales right away. Gary saying that too. Good call. I didn't realize he fell under the 10%.
Yeah, I think he did that. I think that came out on Friday after the close.
He's under it. Yeah. So he could be selling left, right, and center right now, but we won't find out until 13F filing day.
And we looked at that a couple of weeks ago where it was just coincidentally 10% of his portfolio and also 10% of the company.
That's funny.
All right, let's go.
Did you see this 44.50 print? Is that right?
Can't be real. What time was it? 8 o'clock. It was 8 o'clock.
Oh, it was this morning. No, it was 4 a.m.
Nah, that can't be right. If
I'm
anybody's playing 44.50, I'll sell it to them. Can't be right.
I don't see it on my chart.
I hope no. One thing. Okay, lesson time. If you're waking up at 4 a.m. and you're paying $3 for Bank of America ahead of the earnings report, you're doing everything wrong. Stop trading. Don't be a trader anymore. This isn't for you. First lesson. 4 o'clock. I used to wake up at 3:45 every single day for like 10 years. I'm too old for it now. I can't. I got kids and stuff. I don't wake up that early. But when I'm coming in at 4 o'clock, I'm looking for dumb money, doing stupid stuff like that. I actually got short some stock, I remember, at 4 a.m., up 50% from the close. And I'm like, and I was up like, it's a ridiculous amount of money, like $100,000 on the stock. And I'm like, they're going to bust that for sure. I'm like, I'm not even going to worry about it. I was like, it was bid up like 50% from the close of the stock. And I hit a whole bunch of stock. And I'm like, there's no way I'm keeping any of that money. And sure enough, 2 hours later, I get the message, yeah, they busted that. So, I mean, sometimes the trader's so dumb that the exchange will bail them out. But there's clearly erroneous rules for this stuff now, too, where if a stock's up so much, they automatically bust it if without news. Like a news, it changes things, so it gets a little dicey if there's news. But just moral of the story is their liquidity is very low. Don't be paying way up for something at 4 a.m. or selling something way down at 4 a.m. There's no liquidity in there. So you're probably going to get a really, really bad price. The way I always traded was fading dumb money at 4 a.m. And there was a lot of money in there, but sure, there still is a lot of money to fade. I just can't get up that early to do it.
Just one educational note here. The most important thing Dennis said on that is that he didn't cover it. Okay. Because if he would have covered it at, let's say, just below that,
like down 30%,
then and they bust a trade, then he's long.
Yeah, brutal.
Yeah, he's long on that. So if you get those wayward, those things, I mean, I know it's tempting. Your P&L's looking like that, but I mean, that's happened to you before. Where you get the
Flash
fill.
crash.
Yeah.
Flash
Yep.
crash. I
Yep.
mean, this is, and people, maybe a lot of traders weren't back in the May flash crash of May 6, 2010. But stocks, traded down to a penny. Like there was no liquidity. There was 356 stocks, I think, that traded from like $30 to 1 cent. People are like, oh, I just bought that, like down 50%, I make a lot of money. Well, they busted a lot of the buys, and then people were turning around and flipping them out to sells, and then they were short because they busted the buys. So, I mean, if you get a really crazy print, just make sure, you usually find out within a few hours if they're going to bust it or not. But for the most part, there's clearly erroneous rules. You can Google clearly erroneous. That'll tell you. If a stock is trading up like 30%, just boom, just all of a sudden, one trade, somebody accidentally buys it up 30%, like, they come and they usually bust that stuff. So just, and it sucks. I mean, trade busting really sucks. But I've had trades busted on me lots of times. Usually I'm aware when I'm going to get busted, even during the flash crash. I'd bought a few stocks back then. It was my best day of the year, but I bought a few stocks and I'm like, I'm holding on to this just to make sure I'm going to get to keep it. The flash crash, they didn't have clearly erroneous rules yet. So I think they busted everything down 60%. So if you bought the stock down 60%, your fill was good. You bought the stock down 61%, they busted your fill. Yep. So that's, but those are very, events that just don't normally happen. But at 4 a.m., sometimes there's some crazy crap that happens. Like somebody's just dumb. They're like really excited and they pay up like 30% for a stock. They might actually bust that.
Technical note, Bank America. Watch this $43 area. You did trade good volume, but you got to sweep out the book here at 42, 42 and a half. And I'm sure there's a pile of stock. Let's see. Warren might be hanging up there near 43 as well. So let's see. I don't think it's going to open over 43, but big move yesterday or 2 days ago after JP Morgan run. So let's see if they sell in the strength here on the Bank of America.
And I just want to clarify, there's a news component to this. So if a stock has news and is trading up 30%, they're not probably going to bust if it's trading actively up there. What usually happens is if it's one trade, like let's say the stock's here and all of a sudden it just trades up 30% on nothing and then it's trading right back down, those are the ones they will clearly bust. But Bank America, if somebody did buy it at 44.5, they won't bust that. That's within the range. So that will not get busted.
All right, just real quick. I never gave the actual numbers on Bank of America, so in case anyone cares, EPS came in at 81 cents, beat the 78-cent estimate. Sales came in at $25.49 billion, beat the $25.29 billion estimate. So they talked about profit decreases, but still topped the estimates there, outperforms with expectations with $6.9 billion net income in Q3. Now let's move over to Schwab, which is in the financial sector, but obviously a little bit more on the brokerage side, not the consumer banking side. So Charles Schwab announced EPS of 77 cents that beat the 75-cent estimate. Sales came in at $4.84 billion, beat the $4.7 billion estimate. Total client assets increased 27% year over year to $9.92 trillion for Schwab. So sounds like a lot of money there. $9.9 trillion in total assets from the customers of Schwab here. So beat on both EPS and sales. Schwab is trading up about 8.5% on this news.
Yeah, so good numbers here. I mean, the stock has been in the gutter compared to all the other brokerages here. Obviously, maybe the hangover from the whole credit crunch back in March of 2023. Never really covered it all yet, but it's on the road to recovery here, and it is still a good company here. So like when you look at the Goldmans and the Morgans, they're up near all-time highs or at all-time highs. You look at the Schwab, you can clearly see the laggard effect here, but it's a nice pop for Schwab today.
A couple technical notes here, one fundamental note. You got that big buy. I think this was that earnings back in July? Well, people are all getting their money back here when you fill the gap at 73.36. I mean, I would just look at this bar right here. You had a high of 76.10, a low of 73.36. As I mentioned, then that close a day at 75.07. it's been a long time. And with the stock at 68 yesterday, stock back near 74 today. Let's see if you can work this way through that bar. Also, I've heard that statistic about the assets under management and total assets and how it's grown. Well, the market's gone up. Have everyone
27%.
are they bringing in new money? They're pounding the table. They're going door to door. I mean, it's a natural effect with the market going up. You got more assets under management. If the S&Ps were at 2,500 or 3,000, they'd have less assets under management.
Oh yeah, that's true too. But the market doesn't. But they like that, so they like to brag about that. So that's where all the banks like to brag about that. Yeah, we have more assets under management.
Isn't that better for Schwab than if they were taking their assets out of Schwab? At least they're leaving them in there and letting them accrue.
Yeah, but they're not they're just watching the market going up. They're not, they don't
count for net new assets, and they just say, and I think they all do it that way.
Yeah,
everything is smoke and mirrors. The whole world is just story and smoke and mirrors, and it's just this is the way the world is, folks. You take the information at face value, and you're really getting a skewed story. That's on everything. Applies to everything.
All right, before we continue with earnings, so we got a couple more. I was just going through my some of the stocks that I check every day. There's a major tech stock that's inching toward all-time highs. I don't see any news on this. But showing some strength. Do you guys know which one I'm talking about here?
No.
Probably could be a number of them. But Apple is up here trading up another $3 this morning.
Bid, man.
What'd you say?
Non-stop bid. Like every time the stock goes down on a bad headline, it gets bid up right back.
I mean, this is
ultimate buy the dip stock.
Because I thought, we've gotten like mixed headlines on the new iPhone demand. Like some people were like, oh, it's not selling as much as it was expected. Some people are saying that the sales have been pretty strong. Either way, Apple looks set to, get up. I think what is the all-time high here? Is it
237?
237.23, and we are now at around 234.30 here. So there's a chance here by the end of the week, Apple is testing those all-time highs.
Yeah, Apple, it's like people view this. I had a Reuters reporter calling me, about, why tech's so strong. And what I was talking about was Apple as a safety trade. People view Apple as like safe from everything, cushioned from everything. I don't like the valuation. That's why I sold it, but it doesn't matter. It's just seen as, interest rates higher, buy iPhones. Interest rates lower, buy iPhones. It's the only thing, we talked about this too, Joel. It's the only thing that when we had the ridiculous rise in interest rates, that still had 0% financing on it. Because Apple could afford to do it because they damn phones are just, you're talking about a $1,500 phone. So they would still do 0% financing on the phones. Cars, no. Bigger ticket stuff, no. They can't stomach it. The companies can't do it. Apple, we can still do 0% financing. And they do. So, and people sell them. They're like, yeah, that's great. I can still buy my phone and I'll pay interest. This is fantastic. You get deals from your carriers. Obviously, Apple's just been, a cash cow, 50% of the business. I don't like that there's not a lot of innovation, I don't feel like there, but maybe they're going to fool us and maybe they're going to come up with some stuff really cool. And then maybe I'd be interested. It's the valuation that's kept me away, but I was wrong to sell my stock. I had it from 85 to, or I had it from 25 to 185, thought the valuation was full. I've been wrong. It's got fuller.
Everyone has an iPhone. Everyone, even the people at the street, people in Paris have iPhones. Everyone has it, and they're always on it. It's remarkable. This is a big jump here for Apple relative to the S&Ps, up over $3 here. You are approaching, I would say this 230. If you had a target here at this 233 area, well, there you go. You got a little more meat on the bone, up $1.30 after that. The only two highs remaining as Aaron mentioned, is 37.23, the all-time high. 36.22 is the second all-time high, and it looks like the ATCH, the all-time closing high, is right where you're at right now, folks. 334.40. So there you go. If your target was the all-time closing high prior and Apple, boom, you're 18 cents away from it.
Boom, there you go. Well, that takes us to 8:35 a.m. Eastern. We've got a couple more earnings reports to get to, but we'll get to those after our guest. We have Sami Abussad from T3 Trading hanging out backstage. So without further ado, let's go ahead and play that special intro and bring Sami on the show. All right, Sami Abussad joining us back from T3 Trading. Sami, how are you doing on this Tuesday? Uh-oh, we got you on mute, Sami.
Doing great. Good to be with you.
Yeah, it's great to have you back. So, a lot's happened since last time we've had you on. The markets have been, inching higher here, making new highs. It seems like every single day. What, are there specific sectors you've been watching? What has been your trading strategy the past few weeks?
My trading strategy has been to recognize that the market is bullish and to actually commit to it and be bullish. I think the main reason why the market keeps going up is because people never really fully commit to it. So there's always these doubters. As long as there's some doubters in the market, then the market can keep going up. But when everybody's sure about it, that's when it tops out. So it's actually doubters that keep the market going up. And for me as a professional trader, I recognize that, and I've been just fully committed to being bullish. I have like over 40 positions long.
Oh.
And yeah, I do.
All long?
I have 40 some positions long, and I have one short. And yesterday I entered
What's
into
a
another
short?
short. That's
What's
it.
a short?
It's PGNY. So PGNY. It's a little stock.
Progeny. I've never traded this. I don't think. What do they do?
I don't know what they do.
No, he doesn't like the chart.
Technician.
Doesn't matter.
Through and through.
Doesn't matter what they do. They make eggs and bacon for all I know. It doesn't even matter. They don't do it well. That's why it's going down.
It's the chart. That's what I care about.
Yeah.
You think I know what all the 40 plus symbols that I have in my portfolio? You think I know what each of them does? No,
what's your biggest one? What's your biggest long?
I don't have like a biggest.
Oh, you keep them kind of balanced.
They're all over the place. I mean, there's some tech stocks. There's some all over the place. Bitcoin stocks. There's some even like 3M. From 102.
Long. There you go.
Yeah, from 102. I have Baba. I'm getting killed this morning on Baba, but I have it from $81. I have Ericsson from $6. So I have a bunch of things. I have Roku. I have Affirm, which is probably my favorite long. It's not my biggest long, but it's probably one of my favorite long-term charts. As well as Twilio is something that I really like too. So I have a bunch. I even have ARK. I got in it a few days ago. I think it bottomed.
Wow, we haven't matching Kathy in ever. Holy mackerel!
You know what?
I do a lot of scanning.
I'm going to go on a tangent on Kathy just quickly. You know what would be really ironic is if Tesla actually starts to go and Kathy ARKK comes out of the gutter because of Tesla once again, because she's really buying a lot of Tesla on the dip. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I'm not saying that's imminent here, but I think when we look 2 years from now, maybe ARKK is a lot higher because of Tesla. It's possible.
Look at the monthly chart of ARK. It's not bad at all.
Yeah. It looks a lot like Tesla, except Tesla has that ugly last couple of days.
It doesn't look exactly like Tesla, but I mean, it's starting to curl and move up. Look at Twilio, the monthly chart, how it's starting to, to move up. Look at Affirm. That's kind of what I like. It's when the chart is starting to curl up.
Does she own all those stocks?
I own all these stocks, correct.
Does she own Affirm? I think she owns a lot.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're curling and you're saying this market's going higher. You're a curler.
Something like that.
Where do you find? So are you just looking through? Do you have a filter? Are you manually looking through charts? How are you finding these stocks, Sami?
Yeah. So I use TC2000 and on the weekend, I scan literally every single US stock that does over 500,000 shares in volume, every single US stock. And I also save the gapping stocks. So throughout the week, every day, I have like 200 gappers per day on average. I save that and I add it to my list. And so at the end of the week, I have like 1,000 symbols at least to go through. and I filter through them, and I do multiple steps. So I go from 1,000 to, let's say, 500, from 500 to 200, and then to a manageable number of like a dozen or so every single day. So I spend quite a bit of time scanning, and I think that's how it should be. We shouldn't be spending, we shouldn't only be spending a ton of time trading, but what about the preparation? What about the scanning? What about, so I do that because I enjoy it, actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, well, so Sami, right now, you know, I mean, there's some question marks about the Fed cutting interest rates because, you know, we were expected to get more cuts. Now it's looking like, oh, the labor market was a little bit hotter than some people expected. Maybe they don't need to keep cutting. Do you have any sectors in mind based on what the Fed does next, or you just kind of wait and react, see what's moving, and then you hop in after you run your screeners?
To tell you the truth, I pay no mind to any of that stuff. I just look at the charts. The charts look good, I get in. Truly, that's what I do. Like, you know, what's the impact of Bitcoin, of the Fed cutting interest rates on Bitcoin? I don't care. Bitcoin is looking great. Get in it. I don't want to overanalyze stuff. I just want to keep it simple.
So what right now? I mean, like talking about some current movers. I mean, what would be your like technical outlook on something like the China sector? I mean, it rallied higher for 2 straight weeks. Then you get this wicked sell off. Like if you're looking at, say, a chart of Alibaba or something, what would be your sign that, okay, now this is starting to turn around, I can hop in and buy it? Or on the flip side, okay, I can put a short on this now.
Unfortunately, this is what I meant when I first said, you know, doubters keep the market going. With the China stocks, if you look at them, they went vertical because everybody was like, yes, China's the place to be. China, and it went vertical, and now it's crashing. Now it's really, really hard to like jump in. In fact, you know, I'm getting out of BABA. We trailed out of half at 112. And now it's actually gapping below my second trail to 103. I got it at 81, so it's okay. But now it's much, much harder because you got a vertical move up, and now it's just free fall. That's not, you know, that's hard to do.
So you'd rather find something with like a defined trend to the upside or the downside rather than something that's so volatile like the Chinese stocks that are going up and down.
Absolutely. I want something that's nice and steady, not something that's way too crazy. Like, you know, way too crazy, you can't control it.
Which stocks are showing steady trends right now?
I mean, look at Ericsson. I'm in it from 621. I just look at that trend.
Through earnings too?
And I sent out an alert yesterday and I said, like, I can read the alert because I have it still, word for word, that Ericsson doesn't look great, but given the fact that it's still in an uptrend, we are deep in the money, and that we already booked profits on the first target on the first half, I am going to hold it. So I held it through earnings. Yeah. And you know that about me. I play earnings. So that's coming up. So I'm really excited about it.
Okay, stop for a second. If you're just a chartist, but you still play earnings, how's that all work together? Tell me about that.
It's all based on the chart. Remember HPE? It was, did I read the financials when you asked me about it on the show? And I said, it looks good. It's just the chart. I look at the chart, and the way I do it is I look for stocks that are really bullish but are not extended into earnings. For example, Morgan Stanley is reporting after the close, I think, today.
Yes.
Look at the chart of Morgan Stanley. Would I be interested in it? No. Why? Well, it's bullish, but it's too extended. It's way up. So I want bullish, but I want the majority of people to be sleeping on it and to not be buying it ahead of earnings, because then that keeps the expectations in check. So I want the Michael Jordan of stocks, but everybody thinks it's LeBron. I'm kidding. Everybody thinks it's some average NBA player. So that's what I want. I want something that's not being bought too much ahead of earnings.
All right, so Sami, we've got this QR code and a link in the description for your virtual trading floor next week. Or maybe it's in 2 weeks? No, that's next week.
No, next week.
Then what can traders get if they join this? I mean, are you going to go through, how you find your stocks, your screeners, your levels? Like what can I expect if I hop in this virtual trading floor with you?
You can expect a lot, and I better deliver on it. So you're going to get access to my day trading room. So that's 8 hours a day, and you're gonna get my newsletter. That's the swing trades that I call every single day. Plus, you're gonna get my earnings newsletter, which comes out in the afternoon, that tells you what stocks I'm going to play on earnings. So you're going to get everything. You're going to get to see my portfolio, how I'm managing it. You're going to see the day trades. For example, this morning, I'm looking to do the Cody short, the COTY, that's gapping down. That looks really good. So, you're going to see it all. And then after that, you decide you want to join, you want to find, find somewhere else. But it's an amazing opportunity, I think, honestly.
Sami, so let's say you short Cody, and just hypothetical situation here. It goes down, making new lows. We know last night they, an earnings warning, nothing looking that great there fundamentally for the stock. Let's say it pulls a Boeing on you and reverses and closes green. Would you say I'm wrong and get out? At what point, I'm just looking at risk management here, perspective here, because when trading earnings, they can be wild. Like I've been in them, and then, oh my God, it's going up on bad earnings. What do I do? At what point do you say, look, I'm wrong and I'm going to get out?
As soon as it gives me enough information to tell me that I might be wrong. I don't actually wait to be 100% sure that I'm wrong. The business we're in is called speculation. If you wait until you're 100% sure you're wrong, it's too late. So as soon as I sense that this thing is not going, it's starting to go against me, I get out. I have no problem admitting that I'm wrong. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about seeing the potential, saying, oh, I like this opportunity. It doesn't pan out. You move on to the next one. So I have no problem being wrong at all. So yeah, as soon as it starts to go against me and it starts to break intraday levels, like resistance levels on the intraday timeframes, I'm out. No problems at all. I have no problem being wrong. Truly, I have no problem being wrong.
All right. Well, if you're someone who, is an active day trader, you want to get more into actively trading, especially on the technicals, hit that QR code on the screen. Go to the link in the description to join Sami in his room next week. Sami, we always love bringing you on the show. All the guests from T3 are great. So thank you again for joining us this morning. Any final trades or thoughts you want to outline before we let you get on with your
what are you thinking about buying?
Yeah.
What am I thinking about buying? Well, I'm adding to my CORZ, which is a Bitcoin stock. Okay. I'm adding to that today. I also like the GNRC. So George, Nancy, Richard, Charlie.
Oh, Generac.
Yeah.
You got more hurricanes coming at us?
I like it. Look at the monthly chart.
I hope not.
You called me a curler. Look at the monthly chart. It's curling, baby.
There you go.
It's still hurricane season, and there's some stuff brewing, they said, down there in the Gulf. So a little bit scary.
I'm adding to my Zillow position. So, there's quite a bit. Bitcoin looks good. There's a lot of stuff that looks really good right now. I don't know.
Beautiful. All right. Well, Sami, Abussad, again, thank you for joining us on Pre-Market Prep this morning. Hope you enjoyed the rest of your Tuesday, and we will be catching up with you soon.
Thanks for having me again. Take care, guys.
Of course. All right, guys, that link is in the description, QR code on the screen as well. We've got about 12 minutes left and a lot to get through. So let's rapid fire through some stocks here. Sure. Let's go back to earnings real quick. Let's go to Walgreens, WBA, Walgreens Boots Alliance.
What a move!
Put $10.
Walgreens reported EPS of 39 cents. That beat the 36-cent estimate. Sales came in at 37.5 billion. That beat the 37.54, beat the $35.75 billion estimate. So numbers good across the board here for Walgreens. The stock got bought up to, like you guys mentioned, $10, then sold off. Still trading higher by about 3.5% ahead of the open.
My mom always said, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. So I'm just going to stay silent on the stock.
All right. Well,
all I'm going to say is, man, double digits. I can't believe this thing was another 70 cents higher. You haven't been over $10 since back on August 27th. You hit a high at 10.27. Now, I mean, you can look at it from the perspective, yeah, it's going back to 10. So it's not even above yesterday's high right now. So, 945. So right here, 932, 937. I think you get a rip through yesterday's high. Maybe you get a look at $10, but looks like that news was sold and sold hard. I mean, what are they closing? Like 1,200 stores. So Good news that they're cutting down on costs. Bad news is that revenue surely to come down. The interesting setup, though, CVS, that activism has been working the trick, but you got a triple top here, trading right there right now, also filling the gap from May. So quiet consolidation after a nice move higher. Let's see if you can clear the highest of those highs is 67.80. So knock that seller out there, get a 68 bid. You got some more upside in CVS.
There you have it on Walgreens. Will stay in the healthcare space. UNH, United Healthcare, getting hit this morning, down about 4.5% on United's earnings. So United Health Group reported EPS of $7.15. That beat the $7 estimate. Sales came in at $100.8 billion. That beat the $99.27 billion estimate. But so you've got a beat on both EPS and sales, but the guidance, they talked about the cyber attack still hitting some of the, kind of outlook here for United Healthcare. So despite the EPS beat and the sales beat, the stock is trading down now a little bit more than 4%.
Big move down. The Humana move scares me on all these stocks. We've talked about this already. Obviously, Humana's bounced from the lows, so maybe it got overdone when it got down to almost $200. But from 400, it got cut in half in 2 months. I'm like, I don't want to own any of these healthcare providers right now because I don't know what the hell's going on. Election, stocks, the election can have an influence on these as well. I know the ratings was an issue for Humana, and UNH must have got the better ones because they didn't sell off. But man, oh man, I just can't bring myself to buy at UNH when I see what happened to Humana.
Humana, that day, man, they kitchen sink that day, and they had a nice rally. But I remember we were looking to UNH, and that still managed to rally off that, starting in the red by $30 here. Boom, boom, boom. Interestingly, you're right at yesterday's low. So if the bulls are going to step up, I think it's going to be right here at 5. Oh no, wait, that's the pre-market low. Yesterday's low. Wow, that's way up there. 5, no man's land. I'd say get above 580. You got some room on the upside. That's an old double bottom. Let's see if they pick this one up, UNH.
All right, let's keep the news ticking here because we've only got about 8 minutes left. Let's go to Wolfspeed real quick. Ticker Wolf. Trading up 30% this morning. This comes after the company, which has a $1.5 billion market cap, is securing $1.5 billion in funding from the CHIPS Act as well as Apollo. So Wolfspeed announces $750 million in proposed funding from U.S. CHIPS Act, an additional $750 million from investment group led by Apollo. So this is a U.S.-based chip company, semiconductors. Again, trading up 30% on funding news from the CHIPS Act as well as from Apollo.
Intel gets so much negative press, how bad Intel is. I'll tell you, this Wolfspeed's been worse. $140 to $11 yesterday. It's a big pop. It's up 30%. What a great stock. You tell the people that buy this at 140, 120, at 100, at 80, at 60, at 40 that this is a great stock. It's been the dog of all dogs. Now, with that being said, it's a big contract. They're getting some money in. I'm not surprised. When these stocks that are just been murdered, get a headline like that, it's going to pop significantly. So I'm not surprised. What is interesting? What was the headline 2 days ago? Was there a headline 2 days ago when the stock went from 10 to 12? Must have been something. I hope there was something.
The memo.
Maybe there was a headline, Joel. Maybe there was a rating.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll let AB look at that.
It could also be the memo.
I mean, there's a big volume.
It was Nancy Pelosi buying. No, just kidding.
Big move.
You better not show a position. Her husband better not show a position.
1550 is a nice level. If that was your target, that was some people's target going back to August. Leaking off it a little bit here. Two highs right around that. I call 50. Even if you get to 1550, I wouldn't look for too much more. 1597 is the next high. The top of yesterday's range, hard to find support. You'll have to drill down on your shorter term charts. But those August highs, 1550, sticking out to me.
The Nancy was a joke. I want to clarify it was a joke because sometimes people don't get my humor.
All right.
I wasn't saying it was Nancy. It was a joke.
Let's move. We haven't talked China stocks this morning yet, and the whole sector is weak. So this is coming after China's September exports missed estimates. China stimulus uncertainty has also weighed on stocks recently. So you're seeing some of that hype after the China stimulus was announced starting to wane a little bit here. So BABA is trading down more than 4%. You go across the board. BIDU down, PDD down. Again, just the whole entire sector is getting crushed.
Oh no, we suck again. You know where that's from? We'll leave it with the chat. Anyways, that's how I feel with BABA and BIDU now. Oh no, we suck again.
Karate
Come
Kid.
on, chat will get it. We'll leave it. Waterboy, Thrifty's all over it. Rob Schneider, just awesome. But that's how I feel in BABA and BIDU here right now, because I mean, BIDU was just killing it. I sold a little bit of stock up there. I should have sold all 116. It's back to 96, giving back over half the gain. BABA's trying to hold on a little bit better, but it's starting to leak out a lot of the gain here too. It's like, China, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. When the stocks go up, Carter Worth may have said it best on Fast Money last week. When your stocks go up 50% in a week, you take the gains. Aaron, we should have taken the gains.
Well, I'm in it for the long haul.
I am too. I'm supposed to be. These weren't trades. If I was in it for the short term, maybe
you would have been out already.
Gone, long gone. See ya. But I'm trying to separate and say, still value, long term. Think long term. Stop
Put your trader hat
selling
back
it. Even though I wake up and I dream about selling BABA, and I can't stop thinking about selling it all day. Should have listened to my head, because BIDU's right back down. Down at BIDU again. Oh no, we sucked again.
All right, let's
off the rails.
Got a few more
Let's
minutes
talk
left.
Tesla.
All right.
Let's talk Tesla. Multiple people want to talk Tesla. So I was analyzing it. Still long, fully long. I sold some calls, upside calls, and the premiums in here are crazy, folks. So I was looking 220 at the money. I'm looking at it and thinking, what's the catalyst really in the next week or two? I was like, election, probably. It gets an election run maybe ahead of the election, but that's still a few weeks out. So I went 2 weeks out. I sold the 220. Guess how much I get for the 220, Joel? Well, you maybe know. Guess how much, AB, I get for the 220 call? 2 weeks out, holding 9 days.
$12.
That's holy, AB, you were good. It was $10.40.
Really?
Yesterday. $10.40. It's basically $5 a week. I was like analyzing. I mean, if if Tesla just stayed at the same price at the 220 and it kept that, obviously the volatility coming into it wouldn't. You'd get more than the market cap back in options. I don't know how people make money buying options, but I was like, $10.40. I don't think there's a catalyst really like in the near term for it to rip higher. Again, I didn't do it on it all. I only did it on a piece. So I have the long term where I'm not looking at it. But then I've been, I wrote some calls ahead of the event. I'm like, I'm going to write some calls on this again. It's a nice premium. I still believe in the company. If they call me away, I think I ought to get another shot here again too. Because you know what? Humanoids aren't coming anytime soon. FSD still a long ways out. Robotaxi event was cool. Long term, I think Tesla's going to be awesome. But short term, I think it's going to go into a complacency period.
So
we're just kind of hanging out.
What's your downside if Tesla rips up to 240? I mean, do you lose how much?
Well, I get called away. So I get called away on that stock, and I'm basically selling it at
because you own the underlying share.
Yeah, so I'm basically selling it at 230. If I get called away because I get the $10, I'm basically selling it at 230, which isn't that bad. Again, if I thought that we were going to rally out of here, but I just think we're at a point where maybe complacency for a little bit, trying to do a little bit of market timing here, and I only did this on about a third of the position. So I have like 2/3 and it's tucked away under my pillow, never looking at it again. But I have extra Tesla still right now. So
can
you know what? I might just keep rolling some calls here. Jeremy Newsom's doing it. I saw Jeremy, shout out, buddy. I saw you writing some calls. I was like, you know what? Those premiums are pretty sweet.
So would you only sell like one option contract per 100 shares of Tesla that you own?
Yeah, if you're covered, so covered call less, and you can't. If you want to stay covered, you can't sell more than you own.
So if you have 500,
then you're naked.
So if you have 500 Tesla shares, that
you can do 5 calls.
You can do 5 contracts.
You can do 5
calls.
calls.
Got it.
Yeah. If you do 10, you have 5 naked. You could do it. Yeah, IB will let you do it, but you're naked. And yes, I do believe there is earnings coming on there, so it is ripping up there too. I just don't think we're at a point.
Consolidation. Consolidation.
I think I'm calling for consolidation here, Joel. I'm calling for a period of consolidation for a while. And you know what? If I can take in some premium there from that, that's solid.
If you think we're trading sideways, then sell some puts too.
Yeah, no, he doesn't want to own more of it. He doesn't want to own more of it. That's
yeah, I think he does. He does. Dennis does want to own more Tesla. He wants to own all.
I do. You know what?
He wants exposure.
Maybe it's a call. Sell 180s.
I'll give you a technical note here, and you got the buy the dippers came in at 214 here, double bottom there. So, boom. I mean, if that holds up here, that's still $5-6 away. Then you just may curl up and fill the gap. I don't know when that's, when and if that's going to happen, but you do have a defined area of support if you wanted to be in Tesla here. And, at 260, now it's down. You have at least an identifiable level of support here. All right, 9 o'clock here. S&P is going green. Did we cover everything we needed to?
I think so. Yeah.
That's it. We didn't talk. Just go to bed now. We've covered everything.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah.
The only thing we've got is that we are into a lot of earnings coming. So tonight we don't get much. Interactive brokers will be interesting because Schwab just blew it away. So bar goes a little bit higher for IBKR, which continues to fly. Wednesday we've got
UAL's tonight too. UAL.
Yeah, I looked at it and I grazed over it. But ASML, big one tomorrow. Las Vegas Sands, Morgan Stanley. Everybody's gonna be watching for those banks. Thursday's Netflix. Everybody's going to start looking at Thursday.
ASML tomorrow as well.
Yeah, so we got a few. We're getting into it.
Also, Dennis, before we wrap, Robinhood is hosting their event this week, starting tomorrow. So
they just had an event. They got another event.
I don't know. Yeah, Hood.
They just do events every week.
Vlad Tenev is going to announce some things.
What a
so
stock.
We'll see. And they also changed the app. I noticed it's a different color now on my phone. It used to be more green, now it's a little more yellowy, so I don't know if that's bullish or bearish, but Robinhood changed their app.
You know what's killing it for Robinhood too? It's got to be this 24-hour trading. That was genius. Like, they were the innovators there, were they not? They're the first ones that were doing single stocks 24 hours, and then IB jumped on the bandwagon too. But I mean, that 24-hour trading is fun. I mean, and you have all the regular exchanges that don't do it. You have, like, obviously, a lot of the other brokerages don't do it. I mean, I think that was a big part of this turnaround for Robinhood. That 24-hour trading is really, really cool. I didn't think they could do as good of a job as they do on it. They do a really good job on it.
Joel, who do we got coming on with us tomorrow?
Well, we got a special guest host to come in and help out with the show. I'm going to reveal that tomorrow. And then we're going to Jay McCandless. He covers the housing sector over there at Wedbush. And remember talking to him a little bit less than a year ago, and he was bullish. So we'll talk to Jay McCandless from Wedbush Securities, Triple D. Glad you're taking some time off here. We are certainly going to miss you. We will try and keep the markets calm. Maybe not a bad time to be going away before the
trying to get the big earnings season, because we know next week we're going to get into it. So I was like, there's a little lull here, not a lot of lull. You're going to get Netflix, but it's a little lull before you really get into it. I was also trying to dodge hurricanes as well.
Okay.
All right, everyone. That'll be a wrap on pre-market prep today. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. We do have live trading starting right after this, so smash the like if you haven't already, and stay tuned for live trading. We will see you guys tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Till then, stay green and have a great Tuesday.